Hello everyone, today we're looking at poetry. I like a bit of poetry, so today we're looking at poetry, the eagle, and our objectives today, two I've given you, to consider the effect of vocabulary and also to choose a range of exciting vocabulary for effect. So The Eagle is written by Alfred Lord Tennyson, and he wrote during the Victorian period. He was also a poet laureate in 1850, and he often wrote about the natural world and how it operates. Many of his poems were based on mythological themes. So we're looking at The Eagle today, as I said before. This fits in with the natural world and how that will operate. The eagle, he clasps the crag with crooked hands, close to the sun in lonely lands. Ringed with the azure world he stands, the wrinkled sea beneath him crawls. He watches from his mountain walls, and like a thunderbolt he falls. So really a very short poem, and it really gets to the character of the eagle. So what do you think the poem is about? And let us discuss it. So let us first look at the structure or form of the poem. So if you look at the end, so I've highlighted the rhymes at the end, and those are rhyming triplets. So hands, lands, stands, and then the second stanza, crawls, walls, falls. So they rhyme in threes, hence triplets. What do you think the effect of using triplets would be? So what is the effect? And it is going to be a sound effect initially. So when we look at it, he clasps the crag with crooked hands, close to the sun in lonely lands. So it is really something that will resonate with you, will sink in because of the rhymes. Also, it is a structured form, so rhyming does help to structure any poem that you have as well. It does create a sense of harmony. You know, it flows, and we can hear it as we read the poem. So what I've done here, I've given you different words, so some synonyms for you to further understand. So we have replaced the words with synonyms. So let's look at the first line. He grips or clasps or holds the crag with crooked hands. So we are seeing the action, the physical action of the eagle. Close to the sun in lonely or foreign or strange lands. So he's a traveler, and he travels via the sky. So he's very close to the sun, and he goes to these strange lands. It's also telling us, you know, if you replace the words foreign with lonely, that the eagle is quite an isolated bird as well. Ringed with the cobalt blue azure world he stands, so really in tune with nature. The wrinkled wavy rippled sea beneath him crawls. You can see how fast this bird is going by that imagery. He gazes, looks, watches. So now we see he's a predator from his mountain walls, and then like the thunderbolt he dives or falls or swoops. So we are drilling down. The next thing, what I like to do with poetry is to show the images as well, so you can really connect with what the poet is trying to say. He grips, clasps, holds, and you can see that in the image of those powerful talons of this eagle. And then he's at one with nature, close to the sun, ringed with the cobalt blue azure world he stands. And that is also a great image of this powerful bird, the eagle. And then you can see behind or beneath him the rippled wavy sea crawls, and that is personification, giving the sea human-like characteristics. So he gazes, watches, and then this is the predator that we spoke about. And you know they make their nests high up, so he's watching. And like the thunderbolt, he dives or falls, and there he has his reward, because he's a predator. What's the Azure world? So we have ringed with Azure world. He stands, and you think about what could ringed, what could the poet mean by that? So Azure is another word of saying blue, however much it's more formal, and it's linked with nobility. And think about what could this imply about the eagle, and we talk about how powerful it was, and what could he stand, what could this show? So we talk about the powerful, we talk about how superior, you know, when you think about the eagle compared with other birds, he's quite a superior bird at the top of the food chain of the birds, because it is a predator. So we're going to do a little pop quiz right now to just consolidate. So what point of view do we see the eagle from in the first stanza? Which one best fits and why? Can you look at A, B, and C and choose what you think it is the eagle that is talking? Do we think the eagle is talking, or it is an observer, or is it the focus is on the eagle? Do you think? And the answer is he is an observer, that it is an observer who is describing the natural environment of the eagle and looking up at him. Stanza 2. Let's see, what can we find? And remember I said before, it's a 2-stanza poem. The wrinkled sea beneath him crawls. Why would the sea look wrinkled? What does this tell us about where the eagle is? And we know that from the images that we looked at to drill down at the poem, he's high above. So when you're looking from a very high height, the effect of the sea looks rippled, it looks wavy. Then what does crawl suggest? And think about height and power. We talk about how powerful he is, how fast he is, how quick he is. So compared to his movements, the sea seemed to be quite slow. What poetic technique is used to show us the image of the sea? And I did speak about this already, and I did say that it is personification, and he creates an image which shows us that the eagle is high up and he's superior, and we spoke about all of that before as well. So this just connects. He watches from his mountain walls. What is he watching, right? And ownership. How does this make the eagle sound to the reader? The use of the pronoun his, right? His, very dominant he appears, because it's his mountain walls. He owns it. It's his, and he's watching as well, looking down, seeing what is happening. And like a thunderbolt he falls. What poetic technique is used? And the second question is, can we possibly have maybe 2 meanings? Let's drill down and see. So first, he's swooping down to hunt. We talked about him being the predator. We talked about him, and well, I'm calling the eagle him because of that pronoun he, right? So we're really using all the clues the poet has given us. So it's an example of nature's power. You know, he's at the top, he has power. And then falling down as well. So the first thing we said, falls could be swooping down, falling down dead, an example of nature's frailty as well, the circle of life. So you could see those two meanings as well if you drill down, and that's the thing, there are always alternative meanings. And what I love, initially I started this tutorial with saying how I love poetry, and why I love poetry is you can bring your own meaning to a poem. Once you support your meaning, once you can get evidence from the text, you will be awarded the mark. Once you can use the evidence to support whatever interpretation, and that is why poetry is so fluid and why I love it so much. There's no set. It's not like maths where there's a set way, a set answer. With English and with poetry, there are always alternative interpretations, and once you can support it, as I said before, you're fine. So let's do a quick quiz and write your answers in red. If you don't have red, write your answers with whatever you have to hand, that's fine. So what is a crag? Close to the sun, what could this imply? What does azure mean? And how does this make us think about the eagle? What point of view is taken in stanza 1? So I would like you to write your answers. All the clues for these answers are in this tutorial, right? All the clues. So please write your answers down and let me know what your answers are in the comments below. Definitely, you know I love hearing from you. So let's check. I put the answers up for you to check. So we know that a crag is a cliff or steep rock. Close to the sun, what could it imply? It could be a godlike creature. Blue as in the blue sky and the sea. 4, how does this make the eagle seem? That he's associated with nobility and status, he's powerful. And number 5, what point of view is taken in stanza 1? It's told from an observer's perspective. So using the model of the poem, please write your own. Choose an animal that you feel confident writing about and get on with it. Let me hear how you have done. So I've given you 2 things to do today, and please give me some feedback. Write in the comments below. If you haven't yet, what are you waiting for? Please subscribe to this channel and click the notifications button so you will know when new videos come out.